Coming at you from New Jersey, the capital of misery, the place where metal forgot to die.
This is the Here Lies Metal Too Many Notes new music review. I'm Samantha R.
And I am Maledictus, and we shall be your overlords for today and all of eternity. Welcome.
What do we have today?
This is called Pharmacist. That's a hell of a name, Pharmacist. And with their album, Flourishing, Extremities of Unspoiled Mental Grounds. I don't know what the fuck that means. That's a lot of words.
It means flourishing extremities on unspoiled mental grounds.
I don't understand. There's a bunch it's a word salad.
Okay, Pharmacist is a death metal kind of gore grind band from Japan. They are Pharmacist on guitars, bass, vocals, and Therapeutist on drums. And they're joined on this album by Andrew Lee for solo guitars.
Just Andrew Lee. So we have Pharmacist.
Well, he's not. He doesn't work at the pharmacy, so he's just Andrew Lee. He doesn't have a title.
By the way, these guys are small pharma. They're not big pharma. Don't get don't think they're bad or something.
All right.
Small pharma.
This is their second album, follow up to 2020's Medical Renditions of Grinding Decomposition, as well as following up a wave, a literal avalanche of splits, and it was released on CD via Bizarre Leprous Production on the Europe side and Sever Red Records on the States side, and is available on Bandcamp and just Bandcamp. Okay.
All right. It's now time for the Here Lies Metal 5-point bidirectional classification scale, including the categories of genre loyalty, listenability, production style, musical complexity, and just plain fun. Please note that neither end of these scales means goods or bads. Now, let's begin. True or nonconformist?
All right. I am going to say we are moderately nonconformist, a 4 on the scale here. At first blush, you're going to be like, this is carcass worship. This is a carcass worship band.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of down-tuned, furious, gore grind riffs. We've got blast beats. And we've got those, kind of, I hate saying groovy riffs. I started to call them hip riffs.
Yeah.
But they're the riffs with the groove. I feel like I want to call them hip riffs because they come from the hip and they hit you in the hip.
Yeah, groovy means like Pantera or something, right? You don't want that. We don't want that involved.
But there's a lot of like autopsy riffs. Like they've got a groove to them, and they're very listenable. They make your hip move, and maybe they're gonna stir your bowels or something. Yeah. In the case of gore grind,
the brown note as they call it.
But yeah, we got a lot of hip riffs on this. The vocals have an occasional gurgle. I'm going to call it maybe a gutter bark for most of the album, but sometimes they sound really close to Jeff Walker. But this is not just gore grind carcass that they are referencing. They are referencing and embracing latter-day carcass as well, like carcass of the last few years. And the very later day carcass is such a creative and evolving force that if you're going to worship that band, you have to also be intensely creative yourself. Like, you cannot be a dummy with no talent making stuff that sounds like carcass.
Yeah, just because it's grindcore doesn't mean it's easy. Right?
Well, modern day carcass, you cannot just call them grindcore. Yeah. On that end, in addition to the grind riffs and the hip riffs, we've got like pointy riffs. We've talked about riff shapes before. We've got a lot of shapes.
That is a theory of yours.
I've got another riff theory here to go on with the hip riffs. We have shaped riffs, which are the proggy riffs. Proggy riff shapes are like hexagonal riffs, star-shaped riffs, riff shapes. Listen to this album and just think about shapes when you hear those complicated riffs, and you might see something.
You might be able to fit them together.
Like, you listen to the riff and you see a shape. That's my theory. So we've got a lot of shapes. Also on that kind of progressive end are those blazing clean leads, courtesy Andrew Lee, which are just shredding all over the place. We'll talk about them more later. But even further off into the nonconformist territory, some of the chord choices and sensibilities beyond just prog, I feel like we're getting into like jazz fusion.
Sure.
At certain points, which, whenever you hear something that feels like is kind of more of an uplifting kind of part, like a major key kind of part, it's a very sophisticated sounding chord choice. That's the fusion coming in.
Using complicated chords.
Yes. So very
snobby jazz chords.
So I'm giving it a pretty high score, even though I call this a worship band. Like, they're getting a huge score in the nonconformist here, because for one, you got to worship carcass. you're already a nonconformist because that's pretty hard to do. And I think they're definitely doing Carcass Plus. They're not just doing a straight ripoff.
Everyone's worshiping Slayer, and these guys are worshiping Carcass.
Although someone doing a straight ripoff of Carcass's album last year, I don't even know what that would be. It's so intense.
Yeah,
so anyway.
Right. Nonconformist. More like nonconformicist.
It's a good joke.
That was dumb, but
It was a good
I
joke.
hit you with it. Got you with it. All right, next. Sonic Terror or Distorted Pop. What is it?
I'm going to say a 2 for Sonic Terror, which might not be as low as you might think. What's pulling it into Sonic Terror? Extreme gore grind parts to it. We've got a harsh vocal, of course. We've, of course, many blast beats.
Yes.
The songs are mostly linear paths of medical horrors. But they do, they will turn you to a chorus or a verse here and there. Like, they'll bring back motifs and themes. It's not like on a strict structure. That might be more comforting, but they bring things back. Notably, they bring the hip riffs back, and I think when they do that, that's like some of the most powerful bringing the riff back moments you can hear. Certainly on a death metal album, it's putting doom metal to shame. I'm going to say that.
Meme. There it is. Beep.
I don't think the riffs come back slower, but they come back and they come back strong.
It's a different meme.
But yeah, you definitely don't feel like the riff is coming back. It's just a gift whenever it comes back.
Yeah, usually you don't get that in
nothing
grindcore.
is guaranteed.
Yeah, you don't get predictability.
But kind of debatably making this more or less listenable is this album is opposite of monotonous. They explore like all aspects of tone, riff speeds, riff attitudes, rhythms, cadences, and which can actually be a little bit overwhelming with all those shifts in style. And I found particularly there's kind of like a little outro track. Second to last song is just a little instrumental. It's a little light, and it goes into the last song, which is like a nice riff study out. It's just kind of like mostly a riff parade, and that song compared to like anybody else is a lot. But for the rest of the album, it feels like it's kind of letting you down. Like it's a little bit less intense on the insanity. So that's nice.
Yes, just because this music is complex and intricate as described, it does not make it immune to Sonic Terror. Now, in fact, that having complex, and intricate might enhance the Sonic Terror a great deal, and that's what it does here. It's a constant of schizophrenic and chaotic feel of losing control, and that's Sonic Terror. It's complex and that's Sonic Terror at the same time. And that puts it well within that territory. And also, the songs are really long.
Yes, the songs are a commitment.
Yeah.
And they go a lot of places.
So yeah, this is a very just if you want to give this its roots in grindcore, it's evolved so much since then because grindcore songs are known for being very short. But
gore grinds.
Yeah, but
is different.
That was definitely a different
had
thing.
Normal length songs.
It comes from like that school, but it's a very different thing. It's not Napalm Death.
Our production scale, Fisher Price to High Production, Maledictus. Right.
So I give it a 4. Now you're like grindcore, this kind of music, gore grind, a 4. Yes, and this album finds its roots in a much simpler form of music. This genre is not like well known for its recording quality, but this is the complete opposite. These guys, are being true to their lords and saviors, Carcass, as described, and the quality is pretty, almost like top-notch quality here. The sound is big and very reverberated. The drums sound like they're plated in gold. I mean, their drums are just like big and perfect. I mean, there's nothing missing from them. Everything is there. They're full and huge. The guitars are very strong and yet very clear. And despite these fast-moving riffs and down-tuned configuration, the mix is pretty, clear and concise. And the overall mix is very wet, full of effects, very engineered. And I think it takes a lot of skill to be, the engineer here trying to catch all these notes, catch all this chaos, and make it sound like something audible, and I think they did that here because everything's very clear despite it being chaotic.
What did you think of the production on the solos?
Yeah, so that's weird. So the solo, like that feels like it was like remote. It was like piped in.
Yeah, they really like if like the rest of the album was like trapped under some like ceiling or something like the the solos just sound like they're just like punching through like into the real world and coming to get you.
Yeah, you wouldn't like expect. You know, they kind of take you by surprise.
They're really out in front.
Yeah,
but they are supposed to be a blazing clean solo.
Yeah, they're like, you know, they're not
shred.
like, they're like noisy. They're not. They sound like kind of like a super guitarist kind of thing. But you know, we'll get into that in the next category. So not enough notes or too many notes.
We're gonna get the rare 5 here of too many notes. This album is officially too many notes. You know, even with the higher BPMs, blast beats, etc., that you expect for death metal like this, you know, they upped the ante with the prog elements, the fusion chords, and Andrew Lee's solos on top of that just shoot the whole thing like into outer space. So, too many notes. I'm fine with it. It's not a bad thing. Too many notes.
Yeah, once again, you know, don't let the grindy influence take away from the musicianship in this. You know, it might sound like chaos, but, you know, imagine trying to remember, you know, like 20 different riffs, you know, at 150 BPM for each track. You know, and, you know, we have, you know, an occasional interruption of this chaos by this highly skilled, expert level shredder super guitarist. It just keeps coming in and out, takes you by surprise. You know, and then this guy kind of, you know, one of those guys that practices his scales all day, you know the kind, and you know, and it kind of takes you, you know, by surprise. And yes, they are too many notes to count here, but that's what happens when, you know, you have a carcass meeting a jazz, you know, meeting the jazz. So you know, you're gonna get that's gonna equal like more notes for you to ever calculate, you know. So that's what you get. Next, fun or focused.
I'm going to say a 4 for moderately focused. It's kind of challenging to judge this because with any band that's like worshiping another, you can always hear like the element of love in it. You know, they're playing the music that they love, and and I hope Andrew Lee wouldn't be offended if he hears this, but his solos are so over the top that I think it makes the album more fun. But with the prog elements, the extremely sophisticated sounding fusion elements, the sheer mastery and care in putting this together, added with the grotesquerie of it all, I will err on giving this a moderately serious score.
Yeah, some guys, you know, like to take their expert musicianship and not play prog rock with it, but instead, you know, invest these skills in a genre that most people write off as, you know, not requiring a lot of musical skill. But you know, I think that that takes a bit of focus to be able to do that and convert your skills into this kind of music. I think it's even more complicated.
Yeah, I guess putting it more on the fun side is like, you know, instead of taking these skills and playing tech death,
yeah,
they're playing like this dirty ass like gore grinds, like progressive gore grind.
I shouldn't have said really put your skills in prog. Like that was only me trying to make a dumb joke. But there's all kinds of other like really annoying types of metal that you could put these skills into. Yeah, you know, and I don't mean prog
that
rock.
Are all not fun.
Yeah, that are all not fun at all.
But gore grind is fun.
You could be playing like Meshuggah or something. I don't know, like as an example. But,
all right, let's talk about the art.
Artwork. What is that? What
Credit
is this?
Goes to Adam Medford. What do we got?
All right, I'm seeing like so there's like a body, but there's like a shape of a body, but with all kinds of bodies in it.
I see a face.
Right, there's a face here.
We've got like some
There's
teeth. Definitely one eye and maybe an eye socket.
Decomposing face.
And yeah, I can see kind of like some kind of organ, and maybe there's definitely the bowels.
There's lots of methed out teeth
here. This is art. Okay?
Yeah, this is organic art.
This looks like like putting together images, anatomical images,
anatomical disaster,
and putting them back together to form a vaguely humanoid form.
It's like what happens when you're in the transporter in Star Trek and it messes up. And this is when it comes out. This is what they never show you. It looks like this. This is what happens.
I feel like you would see this in a museum, and it would be titled "Self-Portrait."
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, this could be one of those museum art, one of those organic body things. But like, you know, this is like a body exhibit, but it's like a horror body exhibit.
Yes,
it's when you don't take your kids to.
I'm curious what's going on with like the outline, like around all the gore.
These are appendages of some sort, veins or something, or.
It's
arteries,
wearing clothes.
Arteries? I don't know.
It's kind of like a cloak.
Oh yeah, well this here. Well yeah, it's like a form of a body here. There's like a very like deformed kind of body here. Like here's the face of it. This is part of that that more darker body. Here's the face of it right here. And overlaid or within it are these other like.
Well,
this
that's not what I was talking about, but
Oh,
okay.
like this
Yes.
stuff. These stringy things look like
Yes.
arteries or something.
Okay.
I think.
But
It's
I
modern.
like how you can barely see the logo because it's
Oh yeah, it's on a very low contrast kind
Yes.
of with the background. This background looks like flesh or something. Maybe I don't know.
well, it's like the paper made out of flesh,
Yeah, being that right. It's like it's like
vellum.
it's like something that like like Leatherface would make. But yeah, this is obviously a very unreadable logo, like to begin with, and it's on a very low contrast background, so it's even more. They were nice and they put a little bit of a drop shadow there, but still can't.
All right,
Read
very
that.
nice album cover. It's pretty actually, I would say, tasteful in comparison to their last album cover.
Okay. What was on their last album cover?
It was more gore. It was more gory.
More gore,
like I
that's what
find
we're
this
gonna say.
very kind of artistic.
Yeah, this is like an art. This is a piece.
Like
this is
if you want to see what I mean, go look at the last album.
you could find. This is an installation here. That does not say pharmacist. Okay, I'm tired
That
of this.
says
That
pharmacist.
does not say pharmacist.
In Japanese.
Okay. Oh, all right. No. Okay. Why don't you tell me? It's Japanese. Oh, that's fine.
You're
Then.
just uncultured.
Yeah, I thought they were trying to say
Okay.
pharmacist in English. There, it's not happening.
In conclusion, yeah, this album is amazing. It's just so good. You just have to listen to it because it's really hard to describe. I feel like there's just a lot going on. I'm not even sure if I'm picking up on everything I should be picking up on when I listen to it. I tried though.
If you keep listening to it, find new things every time.
I don't usually do this. We don't usually, but I want to say, if it's not, I'm gonna say album of the year contender. Not even in the top 20, not just top 5. Contender for number 1 here. This is setting the bar up there.
I don't have such optimism.
I also feel like I have to repent because I 100% slept on this band up until this year. Like I knew about the 2020 album, but I missed it. Like I saw it popping up on other people's year-ends lists, and I was like, I'll listen to that at some point. I'm sure it's good. And then I just didn't do it. And I was like, oh, okay, Pharmacist is back. I'm gonna check it out. And I was like, oh shit. Why have I been denying myself this pleasure?
Folks, thank you. Oh yes.
So yes, Pharmacist 100% endorse on my end at least.
Not big pharmacist, just pharmacist.
Yes, your local corner store
They're
or grind
not-
pharmacists.
They're not trying to kill you with some untested drug. Not at all.
They are trying to kill you though.
Yeah, but not with not with the drugs.
All right, thank you for listening. This has been the Here Lies Metal 2 Many Notes New Music Review. I am Samantha R.
And I am Maledictus. And folks, make sure to find Samantha R on Instagram. She has something to say every day.
I mean Twitter.
Twitter. Why did I say Instagram? Twitter. We don't put anything on Instagram, do we? But look at it anyway. Metal Lies here at Instagram. Here Lies Metal at Twitter. And Here Lies Metal at Facebook. But mostly stuff is going on Twitter these days. So check that out. And make sure to hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up, folks. And we'll see you with the next review. Goodbye.